And welcome in, guys. College football today. And I've done the top 25. I'm just going to kind of scroll through the top 25 as we go here today. And we got a lot going on this week in college football. So it'll be very interesting to see how this week can go on. As I go ahead and pull up the games here and also talk about the headlines. So let's start. So yesterday I went on about a 20-minute rant prior to work about stuff about the playoff and the rankings and all this and that. Today coming out, Mackenzie Milton starts talking to the media saying that UCF is a better team than Notre Dame, and man, do I love it. Now, I'm not going to verify whether or not I think UCF would beat Notre Dame in a hypothetical matchup, but I love the confidence that Mackenzie Milton is instilling in his team before their big game, and really this confidence could either hurt them or it could help them. I think it will help them because they've dealt with adversity in the past. Earlier in this past year, they were struggling on the road at Memphis in the Liberty Bowl, and guess what they ended up doing? They came back and won the ball game. Very impressive performance there to end up winning. And you got to give a lot of love to UCF for that. But it could hurt them because it could possibly be a distraction off the field. And that could be the issue that we're going to face here this season. So we got that big game. It's going to be prime time tomorrow. UCF Cincinnati, going to be a very fun game indeed. There's a lot of football going on tomorrow. I don't know for sure if this is going to happen, but it's a possibility that on the Longhorn Network and on Bash CFB Network, possibly the game in Royal Texas Memorial Stadium, Austin, Texas, Iowa State on the road at Texas will be broadcasted here. Not sure if that will happen, but I will try to get it to happen for sure. Another option could be Duke Clemson at 7 o'clock Eastern. That game's on ESPN. And then finally, the other game on ESPN is Miami and Virginia Tech. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to go ahead and watch this Notre Dame-Syracuse game that will be on NBC at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then, of course, Ohio State and Maryland at noon on Fox is really a game to watch out for as a possible upset there. Ohio State could struggle with these guys. They could also blow the gates off of Maryland. It would be very interesting to see how that game plays off. Sorry, that one is on ABC, not Fox. Then you got Northwestern Minnesota on BTN. Could be an interesting one. Michigan State, Nebraska. A game that, people circled early in the season as a possible big game, mainly for the Spartans. But the slate tomorrow is kind of dry. And I will probably end up doing a night game, either Duke Clemson or Texas Iowa State. Texas Iowa State is more attractive to me as a game. Hey Cam, what's up? And you is good. It depends on what Terps team shows up. I don't think it depends on what Terps team shows up. I think it depends on which Ohio State team shows up, because Maryland's going to be capable, but they're only going to be capable if Ohio State enables them to be that capable team to pull off the upset. So that's all I got to say about that there. I'm just going to scroll here. It's going to be hard to switch through. I wish I could get a timer. A timer so I can scroll through this stuff. Alright, anyway. But there's really very few games that catch my eye really on that on tomorrow. Sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. But let's go ahead, since we are previewing games, as tonight, make sure you don't miss it. We're going to be going to that game in Dallas, Texas, in Gerald Ford Stadium. Memphis taking on SMU for what could end up being the nail in the coffin for SMU to win the American, because they only have Tulane following this week, and that could prove to be a blow to Memphis and Houston, who are both trying to get to that conference championship game. Next week, though, of course, the slate is going to be kind of interesting to watch. Now, I'm going out of town. I'm leaving Wednesday, probably about 1 o'clock, so I'll definitely get my rankings in Monday or Tuesday. It'll probably be Tuesday during the day is when I'm going to get that video in, or Sunday, if I can find the time Sunday. But Wednesday is when I am leaving. I'm going to visit family for Thanksgiving this year. And so there will be no broadcast of Mississippi State Ole Miss on Thanksgiving evening. And then I should be heading back Friday, and there is a game that catches my eye that I hope I can broadcast, which is Oklahoma and West Virginia on ESPN. It's not going to be available for the locals. So on ESPN, that'll be a fantastic game. Both Cincy will upset UCF. Cam, you're in my Pick'ems group. You know I picked Cincinnati to upset UCF. I definitely picked that to happen. I have Cincinnati beating UCF and ending that win streak, but the win streak will last through the season if Cincinnati doesn't defeat UCF this weekend, unless UCF, of course, gets a matchup that is just a team who probably should be in the playoff but got left out, such as a Michigan team. If they end up getting matched up against a Michigan, which is hard to believe, considering Michigan's probably going to go to the Rose Bowl. But if it's someone like Michigan or Notre Dame, well, even Notre Dame, I would probably think about UCF. And we were talking about this hypothetical. Even Notre Dame, UCF is a possibility there. Or Clemson, who could possibly lose. It's definitely far-fetched, not that far-fetched to see Clemson lose, but I don't expect it to happen. Not that far-fetched is what I meant to say. But yeah, anyway, so that game's at 8 o'clock on Black Friday. I'm hoping I'll be home by then. I don't know what time exactly I'm supposed to be leaving Friday, if I'm supposed to be leaving in the afternoon or in the morning. If I'm leaving in the morning, I'll definitely be able to broadcast this game play-by-play. 9-1 Oklahoma, 9-1 West Virginia. West Virginia's got a test against Oklahoma State, who's kind of hot and cold. Since they've been hot and cold, I'm going with West Virginia. I think this will be a cold week following a big loss against Oklahoma by a single point, a loss that could have proved pivotal to the Oklahoma State season. Based on pride, I think West Virginia will hang on there, and Oklahoma has Kansas. I don't have to worry about that. Rivalry Saturday, of course, big games on at noon as well, and we don't know exactly what time a lot of these games will be on, but Ohio State plays Michigan at noon. High noon, make sure you get up for that one. Georgia Tech, Georgia, I don't see really any chance of an upset there. Syracuse, Boston College, a ranked matchup on ESPN. Florida, Florida State on ABC at noon as well. Purdue, Indiana. Now, this one's not that big, but if you're an Ohio State fan, you're looking for Purdue. If they lose against Wisconsin, you're keeping an eye on that score during the That's it, really. Yeah, I know. I'm not saying that you are criticizing me, but the Citadel beats me. No. Indiana, Purdue could prove pivotal to Ohio State, especially if Indiana ends up winning this weekend against Michigan in a big upset. I doubt that'll happen. What's more likely for Ohio State, and probably what could possibly actually be a little better, is if Purdue beats Wisconsin and loses to Indiana, because both Indiana and Purdue would go bowl eligible and probably go to a bowl game. So if that happens, Ohio State adds 2 more bowl teams onto their schedule in a schedule that you're struggling to find teams who've clinched bowl games. You got TCU on that schedule who hasn't clinched a bowl game, and TCU's remaining schedule includes the likes of Oklahoma State, and I think it wasn't K-State, was it? It was Oklahoma State and Baylor, which are 2 winnable games, but TCU has to win both of those to get to a bowl game. So that one's going to be tough for the Buckeyes to find a bowl game. But anyway, back on track. That's why I pointed out to be possibly big there. UCF and USF, of course, is going to also be on Black Friday. Probably going to be on ABC again. Probably that 3:30 slot, if I had to guess. That'll be a great game, especially if UCF handles Cincinnati, and it'll be fun to watch those guys on national television. Houston and Memphis in the Liberty Bowl as well. If Memphis wins tonight, the winner of this game could possibly be going to the winner of this game would go to the American Athletic Conference Championship to play the winner of Cincinnati and UCF. Moving along a little bit, where did we leave off? Noon games. 3:30, of course, is Auburn, Alabama. I don't really see a route for Auburn to really compete in this ball game. That's really all I got to say about that one. Maryland and Penn State are going to be on ABC. That one's at 3:30 as well. Minnesota, Wisconsin, Paul Bunyan Trophy, I think it is. Pittsburgh and Miami. Remember last year's game between the two of them? Pittsburgh's now the bowl team. Clemson, South Carolina is at 7 o'clock ESPN, 7 o'clock Eastern. Now, I would definitely think about doing that game if I don't end up doing Duke and Clemson. Because there's not a whole lot of opportunities for me to go ahead and grab a game on this rivalry weekend because, of course, there are games being played on Black Friday that are big, and it's hard to find a big local game. LSU, Texas A&M is another one on SEC Network that could also be big, but on ABC it's going to be Notre Dame at USC. That'll be the primetime game, and that could be a big game too. Let's see if JT Daniels can show how much talent he's really got. And Utah State, Boise State, a late night. That's a game I might broadcast because Utah State and Boise State, 2 top 25 teams in the college football playoff poll. If both of them win this week, and they are both favored to win this week, as one's got Colorado State, Utah State's got Colorado State on the road in Fort Collins. Even though KJ Carter Samuels is explosive, nothing else on that team is explosive. So you got that, and then Boise State this weekend expected to win, but they are on the road against New Mexico tonight, actually. That'll be on CBS Sports Network. So that's a big game that I might end up broadcasting because that could be big, especially if UCF loses. The Holy War back to where it belongs. Fuck FYU. Okay. I won't be in that one. Go Aggies. Yep, of course, I know you're going to be rooting for your Aggies and you're going to be watching that one live. I know that for sure. What time? It's not announced yet what time that game's going to be played, the Holy War. That one's BYU in Utah in Rice-Eccles Stadium out there in Salt Lake City. That's a slate, though, really, that I can find for next week. There's really not much else to talk about. I think I've basically covered it all. And then you get to Conference Championship Week, which, of course, the MAC and the Pac-12 have not decided anything yet. Oh, yeah, the Apple Cup. The Apple Cup, I mentioned the Apple Cup. I think I did. It's on 8:30 at Fox. Of course, there's not going to be any lines yet. But the MAC and Pac-12 is not decided at all. And NC State's playing a makeup game against East Carolina. Same with South Carolina playing a makeup game against Akron. Iowa State, if they don't beat Texas, and so if they don't get into the Big 12 championship, they will be playing a 12th game no matter what. This one would be against Incarnate Word. In case you didn't know who Incarnate Word is, not a whole lot of people have heard of them. But Iowa State, of course, their route to the Big 12 championship is to win out and have West Virginia lose. Now, if Iowa State wins out and West Virginia loses to... I gotta think about this. If Iowa State wins out and West Virginia somehow drops that game to Oklahoma State, which isn't impossible. This isn't impossible. Drops the game to Oklahoma State and goes and beats Oklahoma. I'm pretty sure we would have a three-way tie in conference. Yeah, so Oklahoma would be 7-2, West Virginia would be 7-2, and Iowa State would all be 7-2. So then I think it would probably go to... I don't know. That's a sticky situation. I don't know who. Maybe it would be the higher ranked teams, the two highest ranked teams, in which case would probably be Oklahoma and West Virginia. I didn't really think about this scenario. Let's just play it for that scenario won't happen, because of course they don't have division, so they wouldn't go by in division games. No mention of the Apple Cup before that. Okay, well, I'll talk about it right now. Friday night, Black Friday, 8:30 p.m. on Fox as well, even though a lot of people will try to get their attention on this West Virginia-Oklahoma probable top 10 matchup. Washington State is going to be playing Washington for the Pac-12 North, and if Washington State loses, that opens up a bridge for Ohio State and probably West Virginia. I would figure both of those teams would actually jump Washington State, but honestly, I would be a little bit outraged if West Virginia got left out over Washington State. I would not be surprised nor really angry if Ohio State was left out of the playoff for Washington State, but it definitely could open up a bridge or a gap there for Ohio State or West Virginia to sneak in, the two teams ranked below Washington State that are one loss. And shoot, UCF, throw UCF out there. If all hell breaks loose, UCF. They're number 11 right now, and I think they should be able to jump LSU. I don't know why LSU is even in the top 7, in the top 10. I don't know why they should be ranked below UCF. UCF should be in the top 10. Joel Klatt had it right. If you don't want to give UCF credit, he had it right, because he had UCF number 10 ahead of LSU. You got to give him at least that, committee. Come on. ASU might win the South. They might. I mean, the South is kind of a mess right now in the Pac-12. ASU right now sitting at 4-3. Utah 5-3, only having one more game left. Arizona also at 4-3. Arizona and Arizona State have to play. Arizona's been actually catching stride. So if Arizona can pull off the upset against the Cougars of Washington State on Saturday, which is another game I kind of slept on, if they can do that, pull off the improbable, and now all of a sudden either the winner of the Apple Cup will still go, but now you're looking at Arizona State for a possible shot at the conference championship. Wait, I think Arizona's technically out unless Utah loses this weekend to Colorado, because they wouldn't own any tiebreaker, and they still have to play Arizona State, and they wouldn't own any tiebreaker, and I don't think there's possibility for a three-way tie right now in the Pac-12 championship. Oh, wow. You're picking Maryland to win outright? Cam, I got to give you a little bit of crap here. I'm sorry. So you're picking Maryland to win outright after you picked Michigan State to win outright against Ohio State, and you're saying that Michigan's going to win, which isn't far-fetched. So you had Ohio State dropping their last 3 games, and now you're telling me that they're going to drop their last 2 games. I got to give you a little bit here because I'm having a little bit of shade that you're giving towards Ohio State with that. Ew, Wildcats. It does take a Utah. Oh yeah, it does. It does take a Utah loss because they have that. There's no tiebreak, 3-way tie possible because Arizona State and Arizona play each other. So Utah would have to lose, and Arizona would have to win out. But I doubt Arizona's even going to win out. And in fact, I could see them dropping their last 2 games and going 5-7. Wouldn't be surprised if they won one of these 2 to get bowl eligible, but I don't see them winning either one. Arizona State, I think, will actually be the winner in the South, even though I think Utah is a better team. What happened on the field at the end of the day, I just don't think the better team. Although they do have Oregon on the road this weekend and on the road in Arizona, so a lot can happen. Oregon's not easy. You're welcome. Someone had to. Listen, here's the big issue with that is it just seems like a trend. I'm pretty sure you'd also pick Penn State. I think you were with me on the Purdue pick. I can't remember if you were. But if you had it your way, Ohio State would be 7-5 or 6-6 right now. Like, there's a point where it gets a little too much. But yeah, Pac-12 South is chaos. I agree. But that Pac-12 championship will be played on Friday night, the Friday before championship Saturday, on championship weekend alongside the MAC championship, which will be played on ESPN2. And of course, I did mention Northwestern has already clinched the spot in the Big Ten championship. No one is in for the Big 12 yet, and that makes sense. There's a lot to be said in the Big 12 right now. And I got down to Incarnate Word at Iowa State. Stanford at Cal is supposed to be played on championship weekend because of the fires. That got rescheduled, so I need to update my pickup. Shoot. It's because Stanford and Cal aren't playing. This week, right? Is that what it is? It got postponed? I mean, they have to play that game for sure. Both of them are eliminated from the conference championship at this point. Yeah, it has been postponed. And since it is a conference game, they do have to play. So, yeah, that'll be played on championship Saturday as well. Back to so I'll go ahead and fix that in a bit. But then we got Alabama, Georgia already clinched. The American championship is going to be on the ABC at 3:30, and the 7:45 time is going to be the Mountain West, and 8 p.m. is going to be the ACC championship game, which Clemson has already clinched a spot, and we are just essentially waiting for Pitt. Time is still not announced for the Big Ten championship, though. All right, let me go ahead and say something. So, just waiting for a couple hours to go by, and then I will be broadcasting the game between Memphis and SMU. All right. So I'm trying to find a game for our pick'em group, and while I'm doing that, all right. Let's see if there's any good games. UCF Cincinnati, West Virginia, Oklahoma State. What time is that game? West Virginia, Oklahoma State. I'm kind of thinking out loud, by the way, just so you know. That's a free thing. I don't think I had Boston College. I'll go ahead and do that. Boston College and Florida State. There's really anything else I can do, right? All right, yep. That'll do. All right. So I've kind of killed the conversation off. There's really nothing that I haven't covered. So I'll talk to you guys later. I'll see you guys in a couple hours as the Memphis Tigers take on the SMU Mustangs.